They came from my jewelry, but I gave them something else instead. I gave them the truth, recorded in high definition. My name is Martha Hale, and at 78 years old, I finally stopped pretending. I finally said no. This is the story of how my own granddaughter tried to steal my life, piece by piece, and how I trapped her. This is how I woke up. Before we begin, drop a comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching, whether it's sunrise in Nairobi, midnight in Australia, afternoon in Canada, or evening in France. I want to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't just sit back. Tell me where in the world you are. Now let's dive into the story. It started on a Tuesday. The sun was too bright on the vinyl floor of my living room in my house on Cedar Lane. I knew something was wrong the moment Lily walked in. She was 19, all sharp edges and loud laughter. She blew in like a storm, her phone held up, filming everything. "Grandma," she said. She didn't look at me, she looked at my hands. "Can I borrow your jewelry for a TikTok video?" Her eyes were on my wedding ring. They were on the thin gold band I never take off. She looked at the rings like they were alive. She looked at them like I was already gone. That was the first sign, that look. I've lived a long life. I know fear. I don't fear a camera, but I fear that look. The look that sees things, not people. She breezed around my living room. She filmed my mantel. She filmed my bookshelf. She filmed the old cabinet in the corner, the one with the strong lock. She said it was all accidental. She said my house had an aesthetic. She said it would make a cute video. Cute. They use that word when they want something for free. I asked which pieces she wanted. She smiled a sugar-sweet smile. "All of them," she said, lightly, like she was asking for a cup of sugar. "The pearls, the emerald brooch, the gold bracelets. Oh, and that velvet box in your bedroom, the one with the little brass lock." My blood went cold. I had never shown her that box. That box was private. That box was my husband's last gifts to me. She must have gone through my drawers. She must have snooped when I thought she was looking for a charger. I asked her why she needed them. She shrugged. "Props," she said. "People love shiny stuff in videos. Please, Grandma, it's not like you wear it." That hurt. That hurt deep. Age makes your world small enough. You don't need someone pointing out what you don't use anymore. She kept filming. She promised to bring everything back. Her voice was like frosting, sweet frosting hiding something spoiled underneath. I asked if her father knew she was asking for these things. She rolled her eyes. "Dad doesn't need to know everything," she said. "Besides, he said anything you're not wearing is basically meant for me anyway." There it was, the second sign. My own son. My own son was giving my things away before I was gone. He was telling her she was owed my life. Lily moved closer. Her hand was on my arm. Her nails were long and sharp and painted glossy red. "Grandma," she said, "don't make this weird. Just let me borrow them. I'll film the unboxing today." Unboxing. What a word. How easy it is to unbox a person's memories. How easy it is to turn a life into content. I looked at her phone. The camera wasn't on me. It was aimed down my hallway. It was aimed toward my bedroom. She wasn't just filming for a video. She was scouting. She was recording the layout of my house. I am 78, but my eyesight is just fine when it comes to human nature. I saw her intention. It was as clear as the glass in my window. So I smiled. I smiled a small, old smile I hadn't used in years, a smile that meant my decision was already made. "Come back tomorrow," I told her. "I'll have everything ready for you." Her eyes lit up. They lit up with triumph, not with thanks. Triumph. She thought she had won. "Great," she said. "Make sure the box is unlocked. It'll look better on camera." Then she rushed out. The door slammed. The house was quiet again. "No," I said to the empty room. "I am not the best. I am just finally awake." Tomorrow she would get a box, but not the one she was expecting. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my chair and I thought. I thought about my son, David. I thought about the way he sighed on the phone, like I was a chore. I thought about Lily's eyes, calculating the value of everything in my home. I got up. My joints ached, but my mind was sharp. It was sharper than it had been in years. I walked to my bedroom. I went to the closet. I pulled out the real jewelry box, the wooden one with the brass lock my husband carved. It felt heavy in my hands, not from the weight of the gold inside, from the weight of the memory. This was not for TikTok. This was not for content. This was my history. I carried it to the dresser. My husband was a clever man. He built this dresser decades ago. He built it with a secret, a false back panel in the bottom drawer. I slid the panel open. I placed the box inside. I closed it up. The jewelry was safe. For now. But I knew this wasn't over. Lily would be back, and she wouldn't come alone. The next afternoon, she came back, just like I knew she would. She breezed in again, but this time she wasn't alone. A car waited outside. A young man sat in the driver's seat. The engine was running. He kept looking at my front door. He was checking the time. He was timing her. Lily didn't say hello. She walked right in. "Did you get everything?" she asked. She scanned my living room. Her eyes moved fast, like a bird looking for something shiny to steal. Her phone was already in her hand. It was already recording. I nodded to the coffee table. I had placed a small velvet box there. It was a decoy. I bought it at a thrift store. It was full of cheap costume jewelry, fake rhinestones, plastic pearls, trinkets with sparkle but no value. She wouldn't know the difference. She didn't care to know. She rushed to the box. She opened it. She gasped. It was a fake gasp, a theatrical gasp for an audience that wasn't there. "Oh, perfect," she breathed. She held up a fake necklace. The light caught the glass stones. "This will look amazing on camera." Her voice was sweet, syrup sweet, but her eyes were cold. They were empty. They were only doing math. She dug through the box. She pushed things aside. Her smile faded. "Where's the emerald brooch?" she asked. Her voice was sharper now. "The heavy gold one? The rings?" I kept my voice calm. I kept it steady. "Those pieces aren't in this box," I said. She looked up. Her eyes were hard. "Why not?" "Those belong to my husband," I said. "I don't lend them out." Her lips pressed together. They became a thin line. "Grandma, you promised." I shook my head gently. "No," I said. "I said I would have something ready for you, and I do." She let out a sharp breath. She was annoyed. "But this stuff is garbage," she snapped. "It doesn't look real." I looked right at her. "It isn't real," I said. Her face changed. The sweetness vanished. It was like a mask falling off. "Fine," she said flatly. "I'll take this for now." She slammed the lid shut. Then she looked at me. Her eyes went to the hallway, to my bedroom. "Can you at least unlock the other box next time?" she asked. Her words were casual, but her eyes were not. "The one in your bedroom? I know that lock is old. I could help you with it if you can't manage." There it was, the offer, the threat. She was telling me she could get into it, with or without my permission. "I'll think about it," I said. She shrugged. She grabbed the fake box. She held it under her arm. She headed for the door, but she stopped. She stopped by the locked cabinet in the corner. Her phone tilted, just a little. She filmed the lock. She filmed the hinges. She filmed the keyhole. Then she looked back at me. She flashed a smile, a cold, bright smile. "See you tomorrow, Grandma. You're amazing." She left. I walked to the window. I watched her. She got into the car with the young man. She handed him the box. They didn't drive away. They talked. She pointed back at my house. He nodded. Then they left. My heart was beating steady in my chest. It wasn't beating fast. It was beating sure. She wasn't coming for content. She was coming for what she thought she was owed, and that meant she would be back. I knew it. I felt it in my bones. My son called that evening. He didn't say hello. His voice was rushed. It was distracted. He was probably driving or typing. He was doing anything but talking to his mother. "Mom," he said, "Lily said you gave her some jewelry today." "I did," I answered. "Some pieces." He sighed. It was a heavy sigh, the sigh he always used, the sigh that said I was a problem in his very important life. "She was expecting more," he said. "She said you're being difficult." I was sitting at my kitchen table. I held my teacup. The warmth seeped into my palms. "Is that what she told you?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "Mom, she's working hard on this social media project. She's trying to build something. The least we can do is support her." "We." He said we. I almost laughed. I didn't. "I didn't say no," I told him. "I simply gave her what I felt comfortable giving." His tone changed. It got sharp. It was the tone he used with employees, not with his mother. "Mom, she needs the valuable pieces, the ones Dad left you. She said they'll make the video stand out. That emerald brooch alone." I took a slow breath. "That brooch is not for TikTok," I said. He was quiet for a second. I could hear his frustration. I could hear it gathering. "You're being unreasonable," he said. "You don't even wear it." My hand tightened on the cup. Not wearing something doesn't mean it belongs to someone else. He exhaled loudly, a blast of sound in my ear. "She's your granddaughter. You could be more giving." Giving, that word tasted sour. It tasted like old wounds. "Do you remember," I asked, "the last time Lily visited just to see me, without a camera, without wanting something?" He didn't answer. "Do you remember," I asked again, "the last time you visited just to see me?" The silence was longer this time. It was a thick silence. Then he spoke. He used his patient voice, his forced patient voice. "This isn't about visits. This is about helping family." I looked at the steam rising from my tea. It was thin. It vanished into the air. "Helping," I said, "or being used." "Mom," he snapped, "don't start with that. Lily told me about the box in your bedroom. She said it's full of valuable items and you're being secretive. If you're worried about the lock, I can have someone look at it." "There's nothing wrong with the lock," I interrupted. "Then why not give her the jewelry?" His voice rose. "She's your flesh and blood." I let his words hang there, flesh and blood, as if that was a free pass, as if that meant she could take whatever she wanted. "Because," I said quietly, "I have reasons to be cautious." He groaned. It was a sound of pure frustration. "Mom, please, don't complicate things. Lily is upset. She says you don't trust her." I looked out the window. The sky was dark. "I trust her. I trust her to act exactly as she has been acting." He didn't like that. His voice got cold, ice cold. "You know, Mom, you've always been dramatic, always assuming the worst. Lily is a good kid." A good kid who filmed my cabinet locks, a good kid who planned to take things that weren't hers. "I'm not discussing this anymore," he said abruptly. "Just think about what I said. Lily will stop by tomorrow. Try to be kinder." Kinder, he told me to be kinder. If only he knew how kind I'd been, for years, for decades, far kinder than was wise. "Good night," I said. He didn't say it back. The call ended. The house was quiet, but the quiet felt different now. It didn't feel comfortable. It felt clear. It felt cold. My son was not going to protect me. He wasn't even trying. He was protecting the idea that his daughter deserved my life. I put the phone down. I finished my tea. The truth was settling inside me. It was a hard, cold truth, but it was mine. I had to protect myself because no one else would. The next morning, I got dressed early. I put on my navy cardigan. I gathered a folder of documents, old papers, will papers, property papers. The folder felt heavy. I hadn't looked at it in years. I carried it to the kitchen table. It felt heavy when paper holds truths you've been avoiding. I needed a lawyer. I needed to change my will. I needed to protect what was mine. My lawyer's office was across town, near the courthouse. I hadn't been there in 2 years. The receptionist remembered me. "Mrs. Hale," she said, "it's been a while. Do you have an appointment?" "No," I said, "but I have urgency." She nodded. She understood. She had seen urgency before, in all shapes and sizes. She led me to Mr. Carroll's office, my lawyer. He was a tall man in his 60s. He had kind, gray eyes. He stood up to shake my hand. "Mrs. Hale," he said, "what brings you in today?" I sat down. I placed a folder of documents, old papers, will papers, property papers. The folder felt heavy. I hadn't looked at it in years. I carried it to the kitchen table. It felt heavy when paper holds truths you've been avoiding. I needed a lawyer. I needed to change my will. I needed to protect what was mine. I folded my hands in my lap. My hands wanted to tremble, but I wouldn't let them. This wasn't fear. This was resolve. "I need to update my will," I said, "and I need to create a secure arrangement for my valuables." He nodded, calm, professional. "All right," he said, "we can do both. What sort of arrangement?" "I want to move my jewelry to a safety deposit box," I said, "today, and I want to revise my will. I want to add a condition." He leaned forward. "A condition?" "Yes," I said. I looked right at him. "If my son or my granddaughter try to take property from me while I'm alive, their inheritance is forfeited, gone." He didn't react. A good lawyer doesn't react. He just wrote it down. "That is legally sound," he said, "and wise." Wise. Nobody had called me wise in a long time. We did the paperwork. I read every word. Age makes you cautious. It makes you read the fine print. Then I signed my name. The pen felt good in my hand. It felt strong. After that, we drove to the bank. Together. He drove. The safety deposit box was small. It was metal. It was cold. I placed the real jewelry box inside. My husband's ring glinted for a second in the fluorescent light. Then I closed the lid. I turned the key. It was done. "You've done the right thing," Mr. Carroll said gently. "I know," I replied. "For once, I know." He drove me home. The afternoon light was fading. It made long shadows on my porch. I walked inside. I hung up my cardigan, and then I saw it. Something was wrong. The living room curtain was pulled aside, just a little. I never opened it that far. Someone had been at the window. Someone had looked inside. I walked closer. My feet were quiet on the floor. On the wood near the cabinet, there was a smudge, a shoe print, a drag mark. Lily wore soft sneakers. This print was bigger, heavier. Someone else had been here. The young man. He had come inside, or he had tried. I checked all the locks. They were locked, but that didn't matter. Some doors don't need to be open to be violated. Sometimes the trying is enough. I sat down. I let my breath settle. Today I had drawn a line with ink and law. Tomorrow I would have to draw a line with action. I could feel it coming. The storm was almost here. I woke up before the sun. My house was still, the kind of still that listens. I moved room to room. I checked the locks again, not because I was scared, because I needed to be sure. I needed to know I wasn't imagining things. The curtain was still pulled aside. The smudge was still on the floor. It was real. This was all real. I made breakfast. I got dressed. I placed my handbag by the door. I put the lawyer's papers on the table. I dusted around the fake jewelry box. I made everything look normal. I made everything look like an old woman's quiet life. But I wasn't quiet inside. Inside, I was planning. Around 9 o'clock, I heard a car. It idled outside, quietly. It wasn't Lily's car. I looked through the window, behind the curtain. It was him, the young man. He sat in his car. He looked at my house. He checked his phone. He waited. Then he got out. He didn't come to the door. He walked to my porch. He bent down. He looked at my front door lock. He examined the hinges. He checked the frame. He was casing my house. He was looking for a way in. My heart stayed calm. It was strange. My body knew the truth before my mind could panic. The truth was they were planning to rob me. He got back in his car. He drove away slowly, not in a hurry. He was checking his route. He was planning. I sat back down. Lily wasn't doing this alone. She had help, professional help. The rest of the morning was quiet. I folded laundry, I watered my plants, I acted normal, but normal felt different now. It felt like waiting. At noon, I got the mail. My neighbor June waved from across the street. She called out, "Everything all right, Martha? I saw a young fellow poking around earlier. Thought he was one of your relatives." I forced a smile. It felt tight on my face. "Just someone visiting Lily," I said. June walked closer to the fence. She lowered her voice. "He looked like he was measuring something," she said. "I almost asked him what he was doing." Her voice was full of neighborhood watch concern. "You don't need to worry," I told her. "I have things handled." She looked at me. She squinted. She wasn't sure if she believed me. Then she nodded. "If you need anything, you just let me know." "I will," I said, but we both knew I wouldn't. Back inside, I looked at the mail. There was a letter. It was from my son, David. His handwriting was on the envelope. I didn't open it. He hadn't written me a real letter in 10 years. Whatever it said could wait. It could wait forever. I had more important things to do. Lily came at 3 o'clock. She didn't knock. She rang the doorbell 3 times fast. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It was a demand, not a request. I opened the door. She walked right past me. She didn't say hello. Her hair was up. She wore big sunglasses. She took them off. Her eyes were sharp. They flicked around the room. They landed on the hallway. They looked for the real box. "Grandma," she said. Her voice was too bright, too loud. "Did you think more about the other jewelry, the real pieces?" I pointed to the living room. "Come sit down," I said. She didn't sit. She walked to the cabinet, the locked cabinet. Her fingers touched the air near the lock, almost touching it. She was rehearsing. "I want to help you organize things," she said. Her voice was soft, but it was wrong. It was fake soft. "I can clean out your drawers, make space. You shouldn't have heavy stuff lying around." I watched her. I saw right through her. "I don't need help organizing," I said. She laughed, a light fake laugh. "Well," she said, "you do have a lot of old things." She didn't mean the furniture. She meant me. I walked past her. I sat in my chair, the chair by the window. "Lily," I said, "if you want something, ask plainly." She smiled. It was a rehearsed smile, a TV smile. "Okay, plain. I want the real jewelry, the expensive stuff. Dad says it'll all be mine someday anyway." There it was, the final card, the entitlement. It settled in my stomach. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even hurt anymore. It was clarity, pure, cold clarity. "I don't loan out those items," I said. My voice was even, steady. "Not for TikTok, not for anything." Her smile cracked like glass. "Grandma, you're making this so hard." "No," I said softly. "I'm making it simple." She crossed her arms. Her eyes darted to the hallway again, to my bedroom. "Fine, whatever. I'll just take this for now." She grabbed the fake jewelry box from the table. "I'll be back tomorrow." I looked right at her. "I know," I said. She didn't hear the meaning in my words, but she would, soon. She slammed the door on her way out. The sound echoed in my quiet house. Then there was silence. I breathed in the silence. The day was turning, and I was turning with it. I had work to do. I spent the rest of the afternoon preparing. I prepared like a woman getting ready for a long winter, slow, careful, with more intention than strength. I wasn't afraid. I was done pretending this was harmless. Lily wasn't just a greedy kid. She was planning a theft, and that young man was her partner. They were mapping my house. They were waiting for me to be weak, but I wasn't weak anymore. On my dining table, I had a new box, a decoy box, but this one was a trap. I had worked on it all morning. It looked like the real one, same wood, same brass lock. Same size, but inside I had lined it with blue velvet, my husband's old watch repair velvet. And inside the lid I hid a tiny camera, a camera no bigger than a button. When the lid opened, the camera would start. It would record everything. And under a false bottom, I put a GPS tracker. A slim little thing I bought for my suitcase years ago. Now it had a new job. I closed the box. I held it in my hands. It looked perfect. It looked real. It looked valuable. I placed it on the hallway table, right in the open. If they came for anything, they would take this, and the evidence would follow them home. The trap was set. Evening came. I kept the lamps low. I wanted the house dim. I wanted shadows. Darkness makes thieves brave, and I needed them to be brave. I needed them to make a mistake. I made tea. My hands were steady. It's amazing what clarity does for your nerves. Clarity is better than sleep. Around 7, I heard a car. It slowed down near my house. The engine idled, then it turned off. Footsteps. Quiet footsteps on my walkway, not on the porch yet, but close. I sat in my chair, my spine was straight, my eyes were on the front door. I wasn't a frightened old woman. I was a woman who had buried a husband. I was a woman who had survived hard times. A granddaughter's greed? It was small. It was mean, but it was small. A soft knock, 2 gentle taps. I didn't answer. Another knock. Louder. I stayed still. I stayed quiet. Then I heard footsteps walking away. Gravel crunched. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed. A notification. My porch camera had caught motion. I opened the app. There he was, the young man. His sleeve was pulled over his hand. He was touching my door handle. He was trying it. He didn't want to leave fingerprints. He looked frustrated. Then he left. He was checking. He was seeing if I was home, if I was alert. He thought I was asleep. He thought I was clueless. He was wrong. When the house was quiet again, I walked to the hallway. I picked up the decoy box, the trap box. I opened the lid. A small red light blinked inside. Twice. The camera was armed. It was ready. I put the box back on the table, right where anyone would see it. I left the lamp off. The room was dark. I went to bed, but I didn't sleep. I listened. I waited. The trap was set. The bait was out. Now I just had to wait for the mouse to take it. Lily came the next afternoon. She had the same bright smile, but her eyes were nervous. They darted around before landing on the hallway table, on the new box. She didn't say hello. "Grandma, I'm in a rush," she said, walking in. "I just need to grab the box and go. I'm filming a huge video tonight." She reached for the box immediately. Her hands were quick. She had practiced this. Her fingers brushed the lid. It was almost a caress. She thought she was touching treasure. "I see," I murmured. "And what will you do with it?" She waved her hand. "Just show it off. People love vintage." She leaned closer. Her voice dropped to a fake whisper. "Can you unlock the other box tomorrow? The real one? I know you have more. Dad said you're just being old-fashioned. Old-fashioned, not careful, not smart, just outdated, a silly old woman." "I'll think about it," I said calmly. She laughed, an impatient laugh. "Well, don't think too long. Opportunities move fast, Grandma." Then she lifted her phone. She aimed it down my hallway. "Hold on, I need a shot of the aesthetic background." She wasn't filming the background. She was filming the layout again. Her voice got soft again, fake soft. "You know, Grandma, you really don't need all this. You barely go out. Wouldn't it be better if someone young put these pieces to use?" I met her eyes. I didn't blink. "Do you think I owe them to you?" She blinked. She was surprised by the direct question. "Well," she said, "eventually, yeah, Dad said." I raised my hand, a gentle stop sign. "I know what your father says." Her smile thinned. She tried a new tactic. She softened her shoulders. She reached for my arm. Her touch was cold. I just want to make pretty things, Grandma, and you always told me to follow my dreams. Dreams that always cost money, dreams that always required taking from me. I'll take the box, I said finally. I nodded toward it. If you need it for your video, take it. Her face lit up. It was pure triumph, not gratitude. Triumph. She thought she had won. She thought the old woman had given in. Thank you, she gushed. She hugged me quickly. Her arms were stiff. It was a fake hug. Seriously, you're the best. She lifted the box. It was heavier than she expected because of the tracker, but she didn't notice. She was too excited. I'll bring it back tomorrow. You won't need to rush, I said quietly. She didn't hear me. She was already halfway out the door. On the porch, she paused. She looked back at me. Her expression changed. For just a second, the excitement vanished. Something colder looked out, something calculating, checking if I suspected. Then the smile snapped back on. See you tomorrow, Grandma. She ran to the car. The young man was waiting. They jumped in. They drove off fast. Not toward her house. They turned toward the old industrial part of town, a place with storage units, a place where no one asked questions. I watched them go. My house was silent, but the silence felt different now. It felt expectant. The box was gone. The camera was recording. The GPS was moving. The trap had been sprung. I sat in my chair. I folded my hands. I waited. The night would be long, but I had patience. Age gives you that. Around 7, my phone vibrated. The GPS app. The tracker was moving, a little dot on a map. It moved across town, steady, purposeful. It went to the industrial edge, to the storage units, just like I thought. I watched the dot. It stopped. It pulsed in one place. The box was inside a unit. They were examining it. My phone buzzed again later, a video notification. The camera had been triggered. I opened it. The footage was dark, grainy. The lid was open just a crack. I saw a dusty room, metal shelves, cardboard boxes, a storage unit. 2 figures moved into view, Lily and the young man. Lily's hair was messy. She looked annoyed. "Are you sure it's real?" She snapped at him. She grabbed the box. "My grandma has expensive stuff." "I know she does," the young man shrugged. "Only one way to find out. We can pry the bottom open." Lily picked through the fake jewelry. She made a disgusted face. "It looks so cheap. Why would she hide junk?" "Sometimes old people don't know what they've got," he muttered. "Or they hide the good stuff somewhere else. Didn't you say she had another box?" "She does," Lily said sharply, "and I'll get it. She's getting weaker every year. I just have to keep pushing." I didn't flinch. I watched. The camera caught her cold eyes, her angry mouth. She rolled her eyes when she talked about me, like I was a stubborn lock, a problem to solve. The young man pulled out a small crowbar. "Let's crack this open." Lily hesitated. "Wait, if there's something really valuable." "You told me she's clueless," he said, "so relax. We'll get what we need." He wedged the crowbar under the false bottom. The camera shook. The screen froze for a second. Then it came back. Lily's face was close to the camera. Her face was clear, young, pretty, hard. "I swear," she muttered, "if she makes this difficult tomorrow, I'm done playing nice." The recording ended. I put my phone down. There was no grief, no shock, only confirmation. She had said it all. She had shown me who she was. I believed her. The next morning, I got dressed. I made tea. I felt calm, strange calm. When you know the truth, you can be calm. The truth was on my side. I picked up my phone. I dialed the non-emergency police number. My voice was clear, steady, no drama. "This is Martha Hale," I said. "I need to report a suspected theft. I have video evidence." The dispatcher asked questions. I answered. She said an officer would come. I thanked her. I hung up. My hands did not shake. I gathered everything: the phone with the videos, the GPS logs, the lawyer's papers. I put it all on the dining table, neatly, in order. The doorbell rang 40 minutes later. 2 officers, a woman in her 40s, a younger man. They were professional, neutral. "Mrs. Hale," the woman said, "we got your report." I let them in. I showed them the evidence. I played the videos. I showed the maps. I didn't talk too much. I just let the evidence talk. The younger officer watched Lily's face on the screen. His eyebrows went up. The woman took notes. "Your granddaughter said these things?" she asked. To the camera she didn't know was there, I said. "And the man?" "I don't know him," I said. "He's been to my property twice, testing my locks." They looked at each other, a professional look. The woman closed her notebook. "Mrs. Hale, you've done the right thing. The evidence is strong. We'll open an investigation today. We'll recover the box." I nodded. "Good." The younger officer looked at me. "Do you feel safe here alone tonight?" I appreciated that question. "Yes," I said firmly. "I've taken precautions." He nodded, respectfully. "We'll patrol the area tonight, just in case." They left with my evidence. I watched their car drive away. My house felt lighter, like a poison had been removed. I sat by the window. The street was quiet. The air felt clean. For years, I thought silence kept peace. Now I knew silence just kept me small. Today, I chose not to be small anymore. Detective Rowan called me early the next day. She was the woman officer. Her voice was calm, direct. "Mrs. Hale, we've identified the young man. His name is Axel Barnes. He has a record: theft. We're treating Lily as a primary participant. The law doesn't excuse her because you're her granddaughter." I didn't flinch. I knew this truth. "What happens now?" I asked. "We'll bring them in for questioning today. We have the box. We have the footage." "Good," I said. She paused. "Mrs. Hale, you didn't cause this. Their choices are theirs." I looked out my window. The sun was bright. "Detective," I said, "I stopped taking responsibility for other people's choices the day my husband died. I know what isn't mine to hold." She was quiet for a second. Then she said, "You're remarkably composed." I was shaking, just not today. She hung up. I put the phone down. The house was quiet, but it was a good quiet, a strong quiet. Later, my phone buzzed, a text from Detective Rowan. "Box recovered, footage reviewed, moving forward." That was all. I sat in my chair. I gave the truth a place to show itself, and it did. Now the consequences would begin, and I was ready. Lily showed up at my door just after noon. She didn't wait. She hammered the doorbell. Buzz, 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 buzz. When I opened the door, she pushed inside. Her face was red. Her eyes were wild. "Grandma, what did you do?" she demanded. Her voice was high, shaky. "I filed a report," I said simply. "The evidence is with the police." Her face twisted. "Evidence? You set me up! You gave me that box on purpose." I kept my voice calm. "I gave you a box. What you did with it was your choice." She let out a frustrated scream, a raw, angry sound. "You tricked me! You made me look like a criminal!" I looked right into her eyes. I didn't blink. "I didn't make you anything, Lily. The camera recorded who you already were." That hit her hard. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. The anger faded. Fear took its place. "You didn't have to call the police," she whispered. "You could have just talked to me. You didn't have to ruin my life." "Talk to you?" I repeated. "I tried. You filmed my house instead of listening. You planned to take things that weren't yours. You brought a stranger into it." She turned away. She paced. She pulled her hair. "You don't understand. It's hard for me. Everyone else has everything. I'm trying to build a life." "You don't build a life," I said quietly, "out of someone else's possessions." She spun around. Her eyes were full of tears. angry tears. "You never support me, never! You sit here with all your old stuff and expect me to what? To just wait until you die?" The words hung in the air, ugly, true. I took a slow breath. "Is that what you've been doing? Waiting?" Her eyes flickered. For 1 second, I saw the raw truth. Yes. Then she hit it again. "I needed help," she yelled, "and you chose strangers over your own family." "I chose safety," I said, "and dignity." She stepped closer. Her voice trembled. "Dad is furious. He said you're blowing everything out of proportion. He said you're confused, that you don't remember things right." There it was, the old woman card, the she's senile card. I lifted my chin. The detectives didn't find me confused. "That's because you lied to them," she burst out. "Grandma, you know you did. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. Tell them I didn't mean it." I looked at her. I really looked. At the pleading eyes, the trembling hands. It wasn't remorse. It was fear of getting caught. "You meant every word," I said softly. "You just didn't expect anyone to hold you to them." She stepped back like I pushed her. "I'm your granddaughter," she whispered, as if that was a magic word, a get-out-of-jail-free card. "And I am a person, one you tried to take advantage of." The silence between us was cold. Finally she turned. She walked to the door. She stopped. She didn't look back. "You'll regret this," she said. Her voice was low, mean. "You don't know what you're starting." I didn't answer. I watched her leave. I watched the door close. The silence settled back into my house. This time, the silence felt like mine. All mine. My son, David, came that evening. He knocked once. Then he walked in. His face was flushed with anger. He stood over me. He used his height like a weapon. "Mom, what have you done?" he demanded. "Lily is devastated. She says you trapped her. She's scared." "She had no fear when she planned it," I replied. His jaw tightened. "You could have handled this privately. You didn't have to bring the police into it." "I did," I said, "because she wasn't acting privately. She had a partner. They were in a storage unit, planning." He rubbed his forehead. He paced. "She's a kid, Mom. Kids make mistakes." "She's 19, I said. "That's not a kid, and this wasn't a mistake. It was a plan." He stopped. He stared at me. His eyes were confused, hurt, angry. "Mom, Lily is crying. She says you hate her." "I don't hate her," I said. My voice was tired. "But I won't be used by her. I won't be frightened in my own home." He looked at me. Really looked. For the first time in years, he saw me, not his mother, a person who was done. His anger faded. His shoulders sank. "We're family, Mom," he said, helpless. "Family forgives." "Family also respects," I said, "and protects, and doesn't lie. 3 things I haven't gotten from either of you in a long time." He looked down. He didn't know what to say. "I don't know how we come back from this," he mumbled. "That depends on you," I said, "and on Lily, but not on me, not on me pretending nothing happened." He left. He didn't slam the door. He just left. The house was quiet again. I went to the window. The sky was a muted gray. It was just a day, an ordinary day, and maybe that was the real change. Not a storm, not a scream, just a quiet, steady truth finally standing up for itself. The final call came from Detective Rowan a few days later. Her voice was matter-of-fact, finished. "Mrs. Hale, the case is processed. The young man, Axel, took a plea deal. Lily is receiving a conditional sentence, probation, community service, restitution. If she completes it, she won't have a permanent record." I listened. "I see," I said. "She'll be supervised," Rowan added. "This is her chance." "Whether she takes it," I said, "is not my responsibility." Rowan paused. Then she said quietly, "You showed remarkable clarity. I hope your family understands what you protected." "I protected myself," I said. "That has to be enough." We hung up. I stood there. The phone was in my hand. I felt settled. Not happy, not victorious, just settled. The truth had done its job. The consequences were theirs to carry, not mine. I had spent too many years hoping people would treat me how I treated them. Life doesn't work that way. People take the shape you allow, and I had allowed too much shape for too long. No more. Today, the sun came through my kitchen window. It was a normal morning. I made tea. I sat at the table. My husband's chair was across from me, empty, but not lonely. Just a chair. The house was quiet, but it was my quiet, a quiet I had chosen, a quiet I had fought for. Later, I watered my plants outside. My neighbor, June, waved from across the street. This time, her wave wasn't curious. It was respectful. She had seen the police cars. She had seen the truth. She gave me a small, knowing nod. I nodded back. No words needed. Inside, I finished my tea. My son called. His voice was tired, older. "Mom," he said, I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything," I told him. "Just do better, with her and with yourself." He was quiet a long time. "Are you angry with me?" he asked. "No," I said, and I meant it. "But I'm done carrying more than what belongs to me." He didn't argue. That was new. He just whispered, "I understand." Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Time would tell. But his understanding wasn't my job anymore. I hung up. I sat by the window. The sun was soft on the trees. My life wasn't bigger, it wasn't louder, but it was mine, all mine. A woman my age doesn't need dramatic victories. We need dignity. We need space to breathe our own air. We need to know the locks on our doors are for us, not against us. Sometimes the quietest boundary, a signed paper, a safety deposit key, a simple no, is the one that gives you back everything you lost without even knowing you were giving it away. Evening came. I closed the curtains. I washed my teacup. I turned off the lights. My house, my rules, my peace. And for the first time in many, many years, I felt entirely, completely, undeniably awake. If this story touched you, stay with me. There are more truths worth telling, quietly but without fear. Please don't hesitate to like this video and subscribe to this channel so we can share more with each other. Please leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from.